for coming tonight. Welcome to Class 8 of Science of Mind 103, Developing a Healing Consciousness. This is the last class, so it's going to be formatted a little bit different, but we always start with treatment. So the sooner you come up, the sooner you get to claim your favorite step.
All right, I'll do the first one.
All right, Brian's got one. Which one's two? Ophia's got two. We need an affirmation and realization. RJ's got gratitude.
I'll take 6.
We've got affirmation, realization, and release. All right. Okay, who wants to let it go? Who's got stuff in your life to let go? Let it go, baby. Let it go. Okay, Amanda. Yay. Now, what do we want this treatment to be about? Because remember, the very first thing is the purpose of the treatment. Why are we doing a treatment? Who are we doing a treatment for?
Freedom.
Clarity and unity.
Freedom, clarity, and unity. Okay, they spoke first, so they got to say it. So freedom, clarity, and unity. You're going to somehow incorporate that in step 1 and step 2. You're going to affirm and realize freedom, clarity, and unity for everyone. And then you're going to be grateful for freedom, clarity, and unity. And then you're going to release it with freedom, clarity, and unity. Okay? Scooch up just a little bit and remember, let the person next to you know when you're finished. Not like by hitting them or anything, but a little communication.
I know that there is one source, one universal law that gives us exactly what we ask for, and that this source is the source of beauty, it's the source of clarity, and unity, and what was the other? And freedom, and that this source is all there is. It is love, and we are love, and we are of the source, and we are clear and what we want, and we are perfectly free with our thoughts and our actions.
Because this is all there is, I know that I am this clarity. I am this perfectly clear mind. I am this freedom. And I am this unity. I am this connection.
And I know clarity for all of us, whether we're here or there or anywhere. There's clarity in everything we do and everything we are and everything we aspire to. And because of this clarity, it brings freedom in all we do, whether it's health, wealth, relationships, abundance, whatever. We have freedom in every area of our lives. And because of this freedom, it brings us around to unity where we are all one and all interconnected. And because of this unity, we have clarity.
And I am so thankful, and I am in unity with everybody within the sound of my voice in terms of this thankfulness and this gratitude. And I am so clear on this, and everyone within the sound of my voice has that clarity, and we are so thankful. And with that freedom that comes with clarity and unity and quality of life.
I freely and clearly release these words into the one source, knowing that it is as we have spoken. And so
So it is.
So it is. Thank you. Yay. You guys are getting better and better. So I think I have some homework to hand out. You need the book, Barbara? Sure. Amanda. Hey, David, Mark. Robin, Alice, David, Mark, and David. Okay. I want to go over the schedule because this is the final class of Science of Mind 103, Developing a Healing Consciousness. And then next Monday, no class. That is, today's the 22nd, so that's the 29th. And then May 6th, there's no class because we have a scouting event here. So if you come by the center, there's gonna be a couple of hundred people in this room eating dinner, and then they're all gonna go into the sanctuary, and we're gonna watch little Cub Scouts walk over to Boy Scouts, and the first girl in Western North Carolina to cross over from a Cub Scout to a Boy Scout, from a Scout to a Scout. It like loses meaning when you do that, but there are girl Cub Scouts and girl Boy Scouts, but none of them have crossed over. And she happens to be in my son's troop with my grandson, and they're going to do it on our stage, and I just think it's very cool. It's an opportunity that we have for exposure to the much more traditional Ashevilleans, and to let them come in and see that there are no chickens being sacrificed, and we're not so totally weird. So after that, which is May 13th, we're starting a new class. It's called Metaphysical Interpretation of the Bible. We've actually gone through all of the material for Science of Mind 104 that I just took in stride as we, there's a lot of built-in fluff in the standard curriculum. So rather than have that, I just went ahead and did the readings and had the material for the 104 mixed in. And as you can see by the end of your reading tonight, you ended up with the conclusion. That's the conclusion to the whole basic teaching part of the book. And then you go into some of the teachings of Jesus, and then there are a lot of treatment examples and things like that. But the basic teaching of the Science of Mind textbook ended at page 423 with your reading tonight. So rather than try to drag something out or make something up, I had so much fun with Easter that I'm going to do a metaphysical Bible class, which is really cool because I can teach you how to interpret anything. How to interpret your dreams, how to interpret things that happen. You can put your metaphysical detective hat on and you can look and say, well, what does the land symbolize? Obviously, if it's a mountain, you're going up in consciousness. If you're sinking to the bottom of the sea, that's not such a great thing. You know, and look at how that reflects your own spiritual growth. We get to do numerology, which we don't do a lot of overtly. I do a lot of numerology. I actually set the fonts on the PowerPoint to add up to a 9, because 9 is transformation. So you're being exposed to all of that. And then we get to pick apart the names. You know, these names that were given to the characters in the Bible are made up, and they're made up to represent states of consciousness. So it's going to be a lot of fun. There's not going to be probably any homework and ample time for discussion. I think it's time to have just a light, happy, let's talk about what this could mean kind of a class. And there are a lot of people who have expressed a desire to have something biblical, because we give so little of that. And I'd rather give it in a controlled environment like a class than from stage on Sunday morning where some people really just don't want to hear it. So that's what the future holds. No class for 2 Mondays, and then we're back.
I just wanted to ask, in regards to the new class, for the people who are going for practitioners, is this class going to count?
Yeah, that'll be one. Yeah, there's actually a class called Metaphysical Interpretation of the Bible, and I've taught it a lot. It's a lot of fun, and I actually know the Bible inside and out, so it's going to be fun. I'm not going to ask a lot of you. You really can just wing it and come and listen to some stories, and then we'll pick them all apart and write all around the whiteboard of what that means, and have fun with it. Because I'm interested in having a little fun. It's warm weather, the winter's over, you know, let's just play with it a little bit. So before we move on, one of our class members transitioned last week. Bill Wallace, Tiana's boyfriend. And because he sat in this class, I wanted to give us an opportunity just to know that and see if anybody has any feelings or anything that they feel like they want to share. I always tell people to live your life fully. The native teaching is wear death on your shoulder, because you never know when you may step across the veil. And so Bill stepped, and he's off. He's fine. He's off doing whatever it is he's doing. It was a kind of a double whammy on Sunday because Joe O'Neill transitioned on the same day. So I wonder, if soul to soul, if maybe they had a connection and walked across together. I don't know. But I just wanted to acknowledge it and see if there's anything that needs to be shared.
Well, your first thing you
Arthur.
said is, you know, he was so young, but it's quality of life, not the quantity of years.
And we just did a class on immortality. So where's he gonna go? No place to go. Pegatha.
Just the day before, I think it was, my brother had called me and told me one of my aunts had passed away. And I was like, okay, how do I feel about this? And then I decided, and I talked to her, and I said, I know you're in a great place now, you're really happy, you have no pain anymore. I said, you can love all your children from above and not have to deal with all this stuff down here. And I says, so I know you're in a good place, you know, and I'm really happy for you, and so on and so forth. Then I found out about Tiana, and that was a little more surprising, because like they said, he's younger and stuff, you know, anything. But it's the same thing. He's up there looking down saying, please don't be unhappy, please don't, you know, everything is fine, I'm good, I want you to be happy, you know. And so I really feel that we spend too much time thinking about the death part of it, and instead of the transformation back to all that is and how amazing that's got to be.
Right.
You know, and the fact that they never leave us, because we're all energy, and so we are always connected with them no matter what.
Yeah.
And all we have to do is reach out and say, hey, I need a word of you know, condolence or kindness or something, and we'll get it.
That's wonderful. Those of us who have had near-death experiences have that to lean on, that there is great joy in dancing on the veil. Who else? Jack.
This is a housekeeping thing. There were a number of people that were brought to tears Sunday, and there was no Kleenex left out in the pews. People were scrambling, trying to find wipe their
Well,
eyes.
by the time we have Joe's memorial service, the sanctuary will be packed with Kleenex, with tissues, yes, yes. Anybody else? Hi, Carrie. We were just checking in about Bill. You know that Bill Wallace, our classmate, transitioned this week. Okay. So we're just checking in about it since we sat with him. I was actually actively treating him. And I don't doubt for a moment that at a soul level, we know exactly what we're doing. His only request was freedom. So I was actively treating him for freedom all week. And he's free, the treatment demonstrated. He's absolutely free. So, deep breath, blow it out. Wonderful. This last class, you have homework that is your spiritual, what do we call it? Philosophy. And those of you who didn't do it yet, on the very last page of your workbook, page 56, there are some guidelines that you may wish to consider, questions you could answer, and put your spiritual philosophy together on the spot, or even standing up in front of the class just to read them and answer the questions so that you have a sense of where you are. This is about developing a healing consciousness and where you are in your idea of how spirit works and who you are and what your relationship is to all of life. And so, yes, I am going to give you an opportunity to come up to the front of the class and share with us what your spiritual philosophy is. Who wants to go first?
I'll go first.
Okay, come on up, Brian. Read it loud so the camera can pick it up in the back.
Okay. All right. My basic philosophy is to be unto others as you would have them be unto you. Beyond this basic philosophy, I believe in a higher power, and I know that we are part of this higher power. That higher power is that higher power being in us as us gives us free will to choose our thoughts and actions, thus giving us control over how we shape our lives and our soul's experience and journey. I believe our souls are eternal, returning here or elsewhere, life after life, and that our ultimate soul's desire is to learn perfect empathy and understanding. We choose when and where to come back. We travel through time and space with soul groups or a soul family, changing roles time after time. Some of the soul family shares life with us on this planet in this life. Despite or in addition to our soul family, we're all connected on this planet as part of the human experience, the human family. And we're here to express love and beauty to those we encounter everywhere and always. We are creators. We are here to create for the benefit of humanity and all creatures, great and small. We are here to love and be loved, to experience life to the fullest, whatever that is, according to each individual. We are here to share with our fellow human beings the wisdom and knowledge of our progressive experience so that future generations improve upon the manifestations of previous generations, making all people better and ushering humanity into an ever-evolving creative force for good. I'm here to spread awareness of our individual power and uniqueness.
Wonderful. Do we have any questions or comments for Brian?
I just think it was great. You did a really good job.
Thanks. It just flew out of me.
That's the way it's supposed to do.
Good for you. Who's next?
I'll go.
Good.
I didn't do it in writing, so.
That's okay.
Go. So I'll read from page 56 questions here. What do you believe about God and your relationship to God? I think I can say at this point in my life that I'm quite clear that all is God or spirit. I prefer to use the term spirit. I think when I'm talking to you guys don't have a problem with the word God, but a lot of people do. So I avoid using the word God in other contexts because it's emotionally loaded for a lot of people. So I'm clear, I think, clear as I've ever been, that all is spirit. Everything I see is spirit. I'm spirit. I'm part of that, and all of you are part of that. What is your function in the universe? I think I lean on Abraham Hicks' material. They clearly said that you're in this physical body to experience contrast and choose what you want and advance the human race, so to speak, by choosing the opposite of what comes up that you don't like and saying, this is what I do like. So we contribute to the advancement of civilization and human development and evolution. How do you see yourself connected with others? We're all spirit. All of us, anywhere you go, Walmart, cashiers, the drivers, we're all spirit. And I try to remember that as much as possible. And if I ever run into somebody who's not acting like spirit, I check in with myself first. What is going on with me that I'm creating this person like that? And I usually get an answer. You've got some negative thoughts here. Then I clear that and go on. What is there in life that you find beautiful? I don't know much of anything in my life that I don't find beautiful. I mean, gosh, people, the kids, this property, the Sunday services here is an example. This beautiful area. I mean, every day that Linda and I get in the car, we start off and say, look at those beautiful mountains. We are so blessed to be here. We just feel so grateful to be in this area with all of this beauty. And all of the people that have that same attitude, which I really appreciate. It's one of the things that we moved here for. We checked it out and found that people who move here seem to really appreciate being here. I like being around people like that. So how do you share that beauty with others? Kind of drew a blank on this one, but I think just walking around in sheer appreciation of all that's around me is contagious, and other people can feel that and go along with that. So.
Yay.
I know that one way that you share that view with others is by teaching,
Oh, yes.
tapping,
Right.
stuff, because
Yeah,
that helps
thank you.
others see the beauty easier.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Yay.
EFT tap.
Who's next? You've known this was coming for weeks.
I'll go.
Yay, Gary.
Okay. So, what is your relationship with God? And actually, I think I'm a little bit one of the ones that doesn't like the word God. I just feel it's like too dualistic. I like saying spirit, universe, and knowing that like we're all connected. But I do know that like I am spirit and form, and I know I realize that, and actually prac 1 is really that whole, the saying God is, I am, that like really sunk in. I'm like, yeah, duh. I remember that very specifically. It was in prac 1 that I really came to embody that and know that. And my function in the universe, I feel it's to just experience this like awesome life. And I know my purpose that I've come up with over like all the classes that I felt has really resonated with me is my purpose is to spread happiness both physically, mentally, and spiritually, because I feel like I feed a lot in everything that I do. So I feed in my work, I go home and I feed my animals, and I love baking and cooking and feeding people. So that's really like where I came up with my purpose, and I feel like that is my function in life and partner in the universe. And then I see connected to others, I really see us as like all these like little like individual lights, and that light is like radiating out from our physical being, and like then all those lights connect. So that's kind of how I see like myself connected with others, is that all of our lights are just moving outwardly and kind of connecting all into one, so then we're all just in this big light. That's how I picture it. And what do I find beautiful in life? Like right now, even just being outside and experiencing like the beauty that is just springing to life right now is, I don't know how you can't see anything beautiful in life, you know, especially right now. And I do like to, you know, share that with others. I like to, when I have like my garden going, I do love to bring like extra stuff to all my friends, and like to share my eggs and share if I have goats and milk or whatever, make goat cheese, goat caramels, yogurt, stuff like that. I love to share all that kind of stuff. And again, going back to my purpose and sharing like beauty with others, I love to cook and bake and everything for people. So I feel like that's how I kind of use my connection and all that fun stuff and spiritual philosophy.
like you to do all of those things too. Who's next?
Hi, Jane.
Hi, I was in a traffic, jam,
Oh, good.
yeah, just.
Just a jam. Just come on in, you're good.
Okay, sorry about that.
No, you're fine.
Alright, so what do you believe about God and your relationship with God? I also definitely had the experience of, I had difficulty with the word God too, with a lot of Christian stuff, around growing up, but in fact, I used to, when I would study a lot of different religions, I would replace the word God with universe in my brain just so I could get anything from it, because I would have such a block around it, and I've really come to both intellectually figure out, but the trick is to apply, and reminding myself that, that this is it, this is me, this is, everything, I believe that time space isn't linear, that it all flows somehow. I don't know if it's specifically in a loop or infinity symbol or what, but it all flows continually. There is no beginning, there is no end. And if it's all energy, which is what my science background is, so it's all energy, it's both a particle and a wave, and if that's always flowing, if nothing can be created nor destroyed, then that means that not only have I reincarnated, that that a few times, or I've been this person or that or whatever, I have been and or will be everyone, everything that has ever had life, any kind of vibration, is me, was me, and so I make up this fun story. I'm really imaginative, so I'm good at pretending like it's not, because it's fun to play games. But when I feel stuck, tapping back into that remembering, I'm told I'm pretty good with kids and teaching, and people ask me what is it, what do you do? And I just say, I look at them like they're God, and I remember being them, or, and so what did I want at that time? I wanted someone to be this way, or I wanted, and so I guess what I'm working on now is applying it more, and I did a meditation of the sage and the child, and listening to the sage, but also when we did the membership class here, my name tag that came up where it was the 3 words mine was wise, brave, goof. It came from yoga and Rafiki and all. So now I'm realizing okay, lighten up, bring up the goof part. So that's where I'm at right now. My function in the universe is to remind us about that, about our unity, that we are one, that we're all cells in a body, functioning together differently, but functioning together. How do I see myself connected with others? I am others. There is no them. Us versus them is schizophrenic. What is there in life that you find beautiful? Remembering the unity, and seeing other people remember it. And how do I share that beauty with others? Is metaphors, music, dancing, art, telling jokes. So yeah.
Daniel Fia.
I'll go next. I was very excited about this project, and then found myself just running around doing everything and not wanting to sit down and write it. And part of it is because I have so much fun these days imagining it in different ways. And so several people have already mentioned ways that I think about the universe and being one with all that is. And one of the other things that really strikes a fancy for me is thinking of God as this energy and this imagination that is vast, and it's imagined for millennia years, who knows how long, before all of a sudden it needed to express itself. So it created Earth, life on Earth, this giant video game and 50 million other ones somewhere else that we're not even aware of, and gave us all these avatars that we could choose to be as spirit, and we jump into them and we start living these lives. But we don't know when we first start doing this that we can't die. That we may die in this body here and now, but then we come back and we just do it all over again because we enjoyed it so much and it was so much fun. Because when we're pure spirit, we see the beauty in every single thing we did and every single choice we made, whether it was a good choice or a bad choice in our present day moments that we, judged things. And I keep thinking that if we all knew that this was the way it was and that it was never ending and that this was just a character that we chose to play, would we choose to play a whole lot harder and go for the gusto? Because we know we can't die. There is no end to us. There may be a death right here, and then you go back to the game, and you go back and you choose again. So, but you just keep on going, and you keep on playing, and you keep on having a great time. And this is the way I try and look at life nowadays. And when I see someone else acting in a way that I am uncomfortable with or something, I stop and think, wait a minute, that's just another version of God, another version of me. Okay, I've already done that, I can do that again, or I can stay here and just love on them for who they are and where they're at and know that they too will enjoy this experience in some way, shape, or form, because that's what it's all about. Following the joy, following the energy, and following the love, and knowing that it all starts right here.
Yay, you guys are very evolved.
Thank you.
Who's next?
What attracted us involved with that.
So why am I here? Not like right here, but why am I here? And as a scientist, I'm always looking for more information, more data to understand what's the real truth. And I can remember a long time looking for the truth, maybe with a capital T, maybe it's really a small t, because I'm realizing as the more and more I experience life, there are probably many truths. We all have our own personal truths. So can I ever get to the real truth? I don't know. Do angels exist? I don't know. Is there reincarnation? I don't know. There's a lot of things I'm not clear on. But I find that my spiritual beliefs have circled around many times. I've come back to the same point again and again, and very often in a different direction with my truth. So I spent a lot of time meditating on this one here, and it basically just simply to be, to be just to experience, to become aware of, to learn as much as I can. And that's the scientist in me. But the spiritual side is just experiencing, just being, and that could being is just being in nature. And to experience nature in the natural world and see how it functions, but also that being is being in community, to share with each other and learn from each other and just growing in that. And to be is a very simple process. You don't say, I have to save the world, I have to invent something. To be means whatever you're doing, you're being. Just be aware of what you're doing.
Yay, RJ. Who else? Jane, we're doing our spiritual philosophy. It was our homework. Ah, okay. Who's next? Such resistance.
Come on, everybody, you're in the most loving place that you can possibly be
Really,
to
it's
do
an
this
easy room.
exercise.
I was gonna actually write something down, and of course, doing things and having fun, so it would have made probably a lot more sense if I would have written it down. What do you believe about God? I do believe that God is all there is, and something that I have struggled with is picturing that, because it's a little bit hard to wrap your head around how everything can actually be one. And I used to do the picture of the ocean and the waves and the drop of water, and it all goes back into the ocean, or it's in the air it's still water, and that carried me for a little while, but my new picture that makes more sense to me is how we can all be individuals but still be all one, is picturing a body, picturing a human body, and every little piece of your body, every cell, everything that's in there, perhaps all those cells think that they're individuals, but it's all us, it's all one, and every little cell, every little piece is essential to the whole. And I know it kind of brings up a boundary because it's a body, and I can live with that part, but just picturing how every individual little piece is essential for the whole to operate, and you can't function without any of it being there. And I translate that into how we are in this big giant whole, and we are all essential parts of the whole, and it's not gonna function without any one of us, no matter what form we're in. We're all still part of that, so hopefully that helps somebody else. So my function, I believe, is probably kinda silly compared to all these lofty things, but I think it's just to be myself and to have fun and to not get bogged down with life, to always see the joy and the beauty, and luckily I don't have a hard time with that. And how do I see myself connected? Well, it's that whole body thing. And one thing that I practice when I'm driving, because that seems to be a little trigger for me, is to either, if somebody cut me off and I pull up to a light and they're there, I look at them and I try and really see them. And then it's like, well, okay, it's, or I'll make up stories. Oh, they're probably going to the hospital and saving somebody's life. Or my new one is, I imagine that they're my neighbor. So it's really hard to be ticked off at somebody that you feel like you have a relationship, even if they did something crappy to you, because it wasn't really crappy. And I've done crappy stuff too. I cut somebody off the other day, it was terrible. So hopefully they did the same thing for me. So beautiful, it's all beautiful. I spent the day, I arranged my schedule so I could have the day off, because I haven't been hiking very much, and I went to this waterfall, and I thought it was just so-so, and I kind of fell in the water a little, my feet got wet. But I was the only one that got across. The other people that went, they didn't cross the river because they were scared, and I wasn't, but my feet got wet. But the big thing about that was when I got down to the other side, I couldn't get across, so I went back the way I was, and I wound up finding the actual really beautiful spot. Because the spot I was up at the top was okay, the spot at the bottom was okay, but the beautiful spot was the spot that I wouldn't have seen if things had gone according to my plan. That was a little segue, I don't know where that came from. So it's all beautiful, even if it doesn't work out exactly the way I think it should work out. And I share this beauty by having fun, being happy, and helping people see things differently if they're stressed out about something, and reminding them to have fun also.
Who's next? What's your spiritual philosophy? Yeah, Breezy's eye.
Take the glasses up. Okay. My questions aren't real, I kind of feel,
Speak up.
I'm sorry. My answers are not real long, but I kind of feel about God like a lot of you do. God to me is a negative term, so I myself don't ever use it. So, what do you believe about God and your relationship to God? I believe that spirit and I are one. Number 2, what is your function within the universe? to do the best that I can to represent oneness and be happy. 3, how do you see yourself connected with others? We are all one, not separate. What is there in life that you find beautiful? Everything. How do you share that beauty with others? I might say I appreciate it so someone else might see.
Yay! You can come up, Jane. Go, Jane.
I better bring these costumes up there. Okay, what do I, what do I believe about God and my relationship to God? And, part of me is God. But the problem is I don't know who that is, but I constantly talk to God, and I know, and really I'm talking to myself. I go outside like I did today, and I see all the beautiful blossoms, and I say, thank you, God, without really knowing who I'm addressing. But it has to do with me, and it has to do with the world that I see. And I just, I believe in, let's see, what do I believe about God, which is that he's, he or she, God is infinite, eternal, and just huge, and it's just beyond me, actually. But anyway, with this God, whatever it is, creates this world that I live in, and I'm very thankful for that. So what are my functions? What's my function in this universe? Well, this universe that I see that God has created, or whoever, is just to me, is always very beautiful. And my function in this beauty is to create more beauty and more joy and more, I see people, and I'm thrilled with the people who are in my world, and I myself love my world, and I love the fact that everybody's in it, and so I can only say that, so it's my privilege to be here with all you guys, because you're all very beautiful, and that's quite a thrill. Now, as I was coming here, I did run into one big traffic jam. It was just bumper to bumper on Var Road, I think, or someplace. And, to me, it was there. And, so I was gonna say something about it. But anyway, it was part of my world, I must have created it somehow. And as such, it was very beautiful. The drivers were very cooperative, there's some that sort of butted in here and there. But, and the interesting thing is, if I got angry, let's say there were a couple of drivers who cut in, in front of other people, because they wanted to get some, and I just, to me, I just figured, let them go, and it's just part of the, I have no power over my world, and so I just take a look around me, and I, look at the beauty around, and forget about the people that don't drive the way I feel they should. So, what's my function within the universe? And I can only say that anybody that I run across, I want to spread joy and peace and love to. Why not? You know, why not that? So how do I see myself connected with others? And the way I see myself connected with others is just I run into I run not into them. I don't run into them, but they cross my path, I cross their path. And again, it's I mostly try to see the goodness and the beauty and the most people are very interesting, and I just see all that. So what is there about life that you find beautiful? So I find life very beautiful, and I could find it really ugly if I wanted to, but that's my I mean, I could think back about my childhood or my family, and I could really put a make a scorching mess of everything, you know. However, what's the point, you know? I don't have to feel that. They're all doing their things, I'm doing mine, and that's just the way it is. So, so I find basically what I find in beautiful is the present moment that I'm living in. That's what I find beautiful. And it's an option. And I just choose to believe that. I don't know if it's particularly true, beautiful or not, but I find it to be beautiful, and if I find it to be beautiful, then it becomes beautiful. You know, it's my choice. And so, do I share beauty with others? And I have. I always try to, and whenever I encounter people, I'm always very pleased to see them. And to share good feelings with them. So I really basically like, and it just makes sense to me. And I've thought that ever since I was a little kid, when I had a lot of ugly stuff going on. But I realized there's just so much beautiful, and a lot of the people that I was with did not agree with my perceptions of beauty, and I, you know, wanted everybody to love each other, and everybody hated each other. So, but so what? That, you know, that has nothing to do with me, because I feel that everybody has a right to create their own world, and so that's basically what I think.
Yeah. Oh, if we could have only had this 10 years ago, just a glimpse to say, this is what you're gonna turn into.
Oh yeah, that's true. When I was a little kid, I had a vision of a woman with in a drab gray dress, you know, really ugly, and a hideous life, and I thought, well, that's what I'll be when I'm older, but hey, I'm 80, and that vision is just something I had made up that had nothing to do with what really
Who's next? You people are amazing. Yeah.
Actually, I've given this a lot of thought, and I kind of spend my driving time meditating, and not thinking about these things. And I'll ask myself, what is it that you really believe? You know, 'cause I find the day's events going through my head, and of course I'm judging them all, and I'm aware of that. And so this first question, I have thought of it as I'm from its source. You know, it just can't. And so I think about these things, and yeah, I understand, it makes perfect sense to me, it has for a long time, but, you know, I think, well, you know, this is, I can only feel this, I can only be aware, you know, in my heart about this. And I get chills, so I'm moving in the right direction. Yeah, I mean, it is just really cool. And my function is to let this light shine more, to learn how to, not how to let the love out, to let all the crap, the fears and this and that, to let them go. And, yeah, I've gotten really pretty good at, silencing my inner critic. And one idea I got from Abraham was kind of useful as upstream and downstream. And a thought will come to me, you know, like Esther and Abraham had this thing, but it's real, you know, I can see it, you know, I got paper in my hand or whatever. This is real. And like Ernest, it's only as real as I make it. And, you know, because science tells us these little things are thinking in and out from spirit into us, into our world, constantly, so they can change in a heartbeat, blink of an eye. And so that's what I'm going with the flow, just, that's my function, I think, with the light. And connected with others, there's one mind, there's one spirit, and it's, you know, it's just, I think of it too like a film with light, you know, like a movie. The film is all, you know, that light is shining through, and there's film, even in the light places and the dark places, there's still film that the light's shining through, and it's continuous. So, we're images of the one. And it's, you know, it's just, it makes perfect sense to me. And to the beauty, I love the winter in a way. I've heard someone say that it looks desolate, but I think it just looks cool. In the wintertime even, the ridges they look like fish bones, you know, and especially when you get a glaze or some snow on them, and that's just, God, I appreciate that so much. And then in the springtime, I slowly see the red and the green froth, and I so appreciate this, you know, I get to live and drive through even the mundane chores like going grocery shopping we've got a vista that people drive hundreds and hundreds of miles to see. And so, that and really, when a small animal get in there, whenever I reach down to pat one of them, and they just reach out without thinking about it, because they know something good is coming. You know, there's just a beauty in that. And you know, and I realize, you know, I'm producing my affairs, but that's in me. You know, it's that creation. It's, so I call it that. Y'all.
Who's next? There's 4 of you. Terry, you ready?
I am, but I've got to
Yes, I'm ready.
Do you need your glasses, Terry?
Oh, yes, thank you. One of the things about getting older.
Oh, I
Can't
was
see.
gonna say that.
No, just, sorry.
Maybe off screen.
I believe in the saying of change your thinking, change your life. It has really helped me a great deal. I have struggled with, this whole concept of the fact that I am God, that we are God, and, because that was not something, that I was brought up with. My God, from a very long time ago, was, somebody who was up on a cloud, you know, the whole 9 yards. And that has been something that I have struggled with until I realized that we are made in the image and the likeness of God. And, that way I could carry God within me. I like what Breezy did, you know, that very brief, because it was very, very concise, and that's basically what I have done too. What do you believe about God and your relationship to God? That's what I was just talking about, you know, this whole thing of carrying Him within inside, or carrying Him within my soul. What is my function? I like the whole concept of having fun in your life. And I truly believe that that's, what my function is to have fun. I enjoy having fun.
That's profound.
And how do you see yourself connected with others? I truly believe that we are all one. That we have such a connection with each other. And this, the whole community of the center has, that has been, very, very important to me. And what is there in life that you find beautiful? I find everything beautiful. I love the mountains. I used to live in Weaverville, and I remember driving down 26, going into Weaverville, and just seeing those mountains. Oh my God, they're beautiful. They are just incredible. And how do you share that beauty? Just by talking about it, by expressing. I don't know why I get so emotional, but I do.
It's so beautiful.
Oh, good. You know, when I think about the beauty of this place, it just, you know, this is what I do when I'm driving down 26. I cry like this because the beauty is just incredible to me. My dad used to cry like this, and I used to think to myself, I'm never gonna do that.
Never say never.
sure I'm gonna move, but you know, I love living where I live, and, well, that's just me.
Yeah, Gary.
Good enough.
There's three of you. One of you's got your paper out.
I guess I'll. Guess I'm somewhat ill-prepared, so I've been trying to fit my philosophy into the 5 little points here. And basically, my philosophy is I believe that there is a creative stuff from which all things are made, and its original source that fills and permeates and saturates the universe and all things. And a thought in that substance produces the thing imaged by the thought. And I know that I am a thinking being, I'm a thinking, acting being. So my thoughts are really what determine my life, my thoughts and my actions. And relating that to God, and all being one, whatever that creative substance is, it's an energy, it's a force. It's been described as, you know, a quantum theory, which is really thought. And as far as God goes, it takes that quantum energy and turns it into things. It turns it into the most simple things of atoms, and it tells those atoms what they are and how they do and how they function. And the hydrogen atom is always a hydrogen atom. It always behaves a certain way. It never varies. And hydrogen atom and or a couple hydrogen atoms and an oxygen atom get together, and it always forms water. It never fails. It's always water. And water always behaves and functions in the same manner. So in the same manner, all things are formed out of this one substance, whether it be a rock, a stone, or a blade of grass. It's all formed by this energy that tells this formless substance what to do, and that energy is God thought. As far as my own individual life is concerned, thought has always sort of wondered how that worked. But basically, I see thoughts as letters of the alphabet. Individually, they're meaningless, but you can take several letters and combine them and form a word. You can take words and kind of combine them and form a sentence, and take sentences and put them together and form a story. In the same manner, I believe that individual thoughts are essentially similar in that they're meaningless. But you can combine several thoughts into thought patterns into beliefs, and then beliefs become the story of your life. And I see that more and more as I live and experiment least with my own life. And it always seems that it works out, no matter how it may appear at the moment. Given sufficient time, it becomes clear and obvious exactly how that thought process led to whatever particular story it is that I may be struggling with or may be excited and filled with joy and happiness with. I guess the way that I see this and others is that I believe and see the same process taking place in everyone I meet. And I allow that to be. I don't try to enter into that process specifically. But in terms of seeing that, I can share that with people. And I guess the beauty and the joy is to see how that is always working. And the people that you're the closest to and know the best, you can see it more clearly. And in essence, you do end up becoming part of it because the thoughts and the actions sort of weave together, and that's what forms relationships, and it goes on and on and on. That's the way it is as far as I see it.
So I wasn't prepared, I haven't been following, and I didn't do the work, and so if somebody asked me the questions,
Here they are. I'll ask them.
just read them.
What do you believe about God and your relationship to God?
Everything. I believe, but everybody who's spoken has touched me, so I truly believe that God is all and forever always has been, is, always will be, in everything, of everything, in me, I am all one. And I used to think that I grew up not believing, but having lived in the same house for so long and having kept things, when I was moving, I went through papers. I chose not to throw anything out without examining it. And there were letters that I had written to a friend who was still my friend. We were 13, and in the letter, I was consoling her and reminding her to trust in God and everything would be okay. And yet there were periods in my life that I just totally didn't, or I forgot it. I believe in the connection of everything, and that's why I am who I am, and I wound up where I am in the family of origin, in the town that I was, in the school that I was, studying what I did, coming to this town, being in my house, meeting the people I did, being in this room at this moment. And the affirmations that go on in my head, when there are times that I forget that and I bring it back to myself, it's all good, it's all good, it's all good, and it's all meant to be, and to trust it. So yes, I think that's that question.
What is your function within the universe?
To be me, to be my authentic self, and to continue to whisper about who I am and what I believe less and less, to talk out loud. Great role model is Barbara in being here. I used to whisper, and I used to fear other people's opinions or other people's non-beliefs and other people telling me, you know, what I believed was stupid or whatever. It didn't even matter what they told me. It's just that I had fear in saying it out loud. So my function is just, I don't know, marching and singing and dancing and being big about it and about me and about my wonderful belief in my wonderful God, spirit, universe, whatever it is. So, yeah.
How do you see yourself connected with others?
Well, just as I'm saying, there are no mistakes. I wound who I was, coming from where I came from. There was no guidance, there was no roadmap for me to be where I am. But I am where I am because I just, something, I used to envision myself when I was learning about all the religions and in the seminary and things like that, and some of my studies, I saw God as like a big brother, almost like the Lincoln statue, you know, and I was in its arms, and I needed to make it solid and tangible and visible at that time in my life, and that's what I even forgot the question.
How are you connected to others?
So I just think that I'm so connected in the perfect right way. I've just met people, and people I've been attracted to, or they've been attracted to me, and sometimes it probably didn't feel so right for me or for them, but so it is, and it was necessary to get me where I am and where I'm going.
What is there in life that you find beautiful?
As most everybody said, everything. Before I moved here, when I first started coming back and forth a lot of times, I made an out loud promise to myself that I would never, ever drive down a road and not notice the mountains. I mean, I'm a beach girl, so it was a lot for me to not be so connected at any whim at any time that I needed to be at the beach and I was right there. But these mountains just do it for me. And again, it was that promise that I will never take it for granted and never not notice it. I mean, I go to Lowe's and, you know, walking in Lowe's, there's the mountain, and it's like, this is Lowe's, and it's just like so gorgeous, and walking in the woods, and
And how do you share that beauty with others?
by being less and less quiet about it. And being less and less fearful and more authentic. And sometimes I actually get a kick watching the eyebrows rise up. When I told a friend so many years ago that I was entering the seminary, she said, "Oh my God, what Mickey Mouse thing are you doing now in your life?" Those were her exact words. And it was like, that's what I'm doing. So, yeah, sometimes I get a kick out of it when people think it's weird or odd, but mostly I just don't care. And I attempt more and more not to, not be influenced and not be fearful. That's the big thing for me, to just not be fearful being me.
Yay, You coming up?
Might not be the only one that's teary here.
You're perfect just the way you are.
Yes, I love you.
We do.
So I'd like to do these in order, so I can leave with a question for you. So what is, vision, what is there in life that you find beautiful? And I'm listening to all you guys and you're talking about the sunshine and the flowers and all that. The thing I find the most beautiful is the experience of the experience. So when it was freezing cold last year and it was 20 degrees below or 9 degrees below, I was out with my dog and we're walking the park. share the beauty with others, and I just, when I come back inside the walk, I just be joyful. And it's just like, that was great. I shared that experience. Why do you believe God and your relationship with God? Before I came here, I had very much a translation I had to do. I never heard the word God. And so I had to, translate it to spirit, much like most of everybody here will talk tonight. But I think back in the time I went to a Tony Robbins event, and he said the F word. And everybody was, and he says, what? It's just language. So I now relate that to the word God. It's just language. My relationship with God is much improved. What is your function within the universe? I feel it's time to step up and play a bigger game. I don't know what that. Now for the question. The original question is, how do you send yourself connected with others? My question to you is, Tiana and I have a magical relationship. We're just the best of friends. We've even said to each other, we're the best of friends. We love each other. And I knew Bill, but we never really got to know Bill. But why is it I'm so doing this? So emotional about his loss or his. So it's probably this.
What does he represent to you?
Someone my friend loves.
And? So are these your tears or are these Tiana's tears?
I don't know.
If you're an empath, then you're crying for Tiana.
That's been said to me.
But Bill was 29 years old. So how much did he represent to all of us? He sat right back there at 29 years old, and you think you've got decades and decades and decades to work it on out. Boom, gone.
We were out last night listening to music, and he had a thing in his life where he had to go down to Georgia for a while. I don't want to say too much. But he had an experience he had to experience in Georgia. So when he came back from this experience, and I knew it was a trying experience for him, and I felt like I should have, I saw him, he started coming back to the center. I wanted to give him a hug, just tell him I love him. And I didn't do that. I thought there was fire.
So next time you'll give somebody the hug.
Yeah, hopefully.
Yeah.
Truth is Bill is fine.
I know.
Bill is flying around without a body in the light and in the love.
Yeah, I really got a lot out of what you said about you treating him for freedom.
I treated the man for freedom all last week. He ended up the week by dying. He's free. He just put his body down and made another choice.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it is okay for you to cry. Yeah.
Sorry.
Don't be sorry.
No.
Don't be sorry.
I'm good. Okay, that's my worst love poem. The green hair, no, it's helps.
Standing for minutes, Tina. You ready?
Yes.
We love you. We bless you. And we know you are perfect.
Yay.
You guys are so cool.
We have a good t-shirt.
Thank you. So the break is long overdue. and we can take a break and quickly do treatment work for each other, or we can come back and finish up the book with a little lecture. It's totally up to you, where you can go home. I love you no matter what.
Let's do the lecture.
Finish the book.
Okay, let's finish the book, so take a break and come back and we'll finish up, pages 406 to 423. In particular, I wanna read this conclusion. Okay, so we are back looking at the last reading in the textbook. Have you enjoyed this book? Has it been helpful in explaining some of the principles of science of mind or the way the universe works?
Yes.
Good, I'm glad, I'm glad. So as we finish it up, this is a review of, basically the entire book. And we reviewed half of it last week. One of the points I want to make is that because spirit is present in its entirety at every point simultaneously, which is what you need to have a unity, a oneness, then every place you focus, spirit is in its entirety. So it doesn't matter how big you think your demonstration is gonna need to be, or how much God can you marshal, in this creation. You have all of it. Every place you focus, everything you think about, has all that spirit is at that point. So when you think about it, I see it like it's almost Star Wars time, so I see it like a lightsaber. And you have all of this awareness, all of this power right here. So be aware of where you're flinging your thoughts. If you are going to go into doom and gloom and trauma and drama and all is lost and all of that, you are commanding all that spirit is at the point of that thought. So be very mindful. And there is nothing that you can't create, because all of spirit is present where you direct it. And so with all of spirit, there's nothing outside of spirit. So there's nothing that you could want to create that doesn't already exist within spirit, because there's nothing outside of spirit, so it has to exist right here and now. You can do anything. You can do anything. Don't swing your lightsaber foolishly. Don't buy into gossip and criticism and defeatism and all of the negative thinking that we can do. Don't do that. Be mindful that you command all of the power of creation itself at the point of your thought. I just thought that was a really cool concept. Really. Remember that thought is cause, and that effect follows thought. And so when you're doing a treatment, you're going to want to, you're going to want to do the treatment in first cause, unconditioned causation, those verities of life, peace, power, beauty, joy, love, light, and wisdom. You can treat for the car. Amanda, you're welcome with your blue Volkswagen. So yes, we can do that, but really your better treatment is for freedom, for love, for joy, for peace, for wholeness, those kinds of treatments, because then your treatment is not being limited by what Ernest and Troward call a secondary causation. So if Amanda hadn't really asked me to treat for this particular car, I would not have. I would have treated her for freedom. I would have treated her for joy. I would have treated her for prosperity and abundance, and however the vehicle in her life showed up, it would have come through that. But I treated her for a blue Volkswagen, whatever it was. She had the list, and she got that. But who knows? Who knows what other vehicle there could have been? Who knows what other pathway could have emerged? So what I like to do is I like to go straight to the unconditioned cause. And the unconditioned cause doesn't have conditions. It's not in the world of the relative. It doesn't have ends to it or edges. It's not this particular job. It's not that set amount of money. It's not whatever your conditioned cause might be, that you want that particular thing. And what we want to do is we want to step up from that and open up. Remember, we talked about this a lot, what you're going to treat for, and how to talk to each other to try to bring yourself up from, please, oh please treat that I get this job, to, well, what is the job going to give you, and how are you able to experience life more whole and more complete with that job? Well, let's just go to the whole and the complete. And if the job is part of that wholeness and completeness, it'll show up through the job. But if it isn't, we're not going to limit our wholeness and completeness by treating for this job. So that's the difference between first cause and secondary causation. And what I like to do, and I like to teach my students, although it's not going to happen all the time, go to where that thing is going to get you. Well, I want you to treat that my back is healed. Well, what will your healed back give you? Well, it'll give me comfort, it'll give me freedom, it'll give me a sense of being strong and being powerful and loving life and being joy-filled, and I can dance, and well, let's go for that. And then however that manifests, it's going to bring with it all of those other pieces of freedom and wholeness and joy and love and happiness, and those things don't have edges to them. That's what it means by unconditioned cause. They don't have edges because they're not focused in time and space. It's not treat me to be happy today, it's treat me for joy. So it doesn't have any edges to it, it's not conditioned. We want to go beyond the thing and get to the God quality, and then let that collapse into form as things. Does that make sense? This is an important lesson because a lot of people think that this teaching is only about demonstrating stuff. And I love to demonstrate stuff. But if all we focus upon is stuff, then we're just little stuff manufacturers. And that's not what we're here for. We're here to experience ourselves as spirit. All that God is, we are. All that we are, God is. And so we want to elevate our consciousness, open up to those divine demonstrations, and really capitalize on the fact that we are creating our experience by what we're focusing on with our laser, with our lightsaber, commanding all of the power of creation right here. So we want to command that creative process as joy, as love, as happiness, as peace, as power, all of those verities, all of those descriptive adjectives of the divine. Okay? Good, good, good. Now they're talking about treatment work. Remember, this is developing a healing consciousness. We've spent a lot of time practicing and discussing spiritual mind treatment. When I treat for you, I treat me. That's why I never say the word you. I'm not talking to you about this. I'm not trying to convince you. I am convincing me about you. So the first point of healing in any spiritual mind treatment is at the point of the person doing the treatment. And if we are going to be effective in that, we have to be willing to stay inside of our own thought process until we really get that this is so. And sometimes if someone shows up with a quote-unquote big treatment, and we feel like we're doing it, we can get tripped up. Because we're not doing it, we are knowing the truth that already exists. You, as an individualized expression of spirit, have to be already perfect, whole, and complete. And Ernest talks about spiritual man as perfect, whole, and complete. No, there is no spiritual man and material man or physical man. It's all one thing. So we are perfect, whole, and complete right here and right now. And if I think that I am having to make you that way, or if I'm having to cast the disease out. Disease is neither person, place, nor thing, you know, and do a transformation on you to go from sick to healthy, and that I'm carrying that burden, that I have to make that happen, I'm never gonna be a decent practitioner. What I do is work on myself until I can see your wholeness, until I know your perfection, and that it's already there. It's like uncovering you instead of trying to make something happen. Or instead of trying to come up with this idea of perfection and shove it on you, that's not the way that it works. I'm uncovering that perfection that already is, and it must be there, because if spirit is you and you are spirit, then whatever spirit is, you must be. And spirit is not sick and limited and miserable and suffering. There is no absolute limitation. If there was, then time and space wouldn't hold together, everything would fall apart, we wouldn't be here. There has to be a wholeness, there has to be harmony, there has to be a completeness, because how can you not have something if all that you are God is, and all that God is you are? You have to have everything. You have to have that completion. So if someone says that I'm missing something, I'm missing an enzyme, I'm missing an experience, a function in my body, how is that possible? If you're complete, you can't be missing anything. So what the practitioner does is the practitioner works on themselves. And when you get into, if you go into practitioner studies, one of the very first nights of class is a letter that Ernest writes to people going into the practitioner studies. And he says, you know, if you say that you're going to treat someone, you have to be prepared to stay up all night long, that's what it takes for you to really get the perfection of that person, that wholeness, that completion. You have to be willing to work on yourself until you can truly say, yes, I know this. I know that I know that I know this about so-and-so. And that you don't bail on it just because it's not convenient, or you don't bail on it because, oh, well, this person's got a really big problem. No, that you've got to be willing to work on your own head all night long if need be, to where you can get to the point where you know beyond a shadow of a doubt that this is the truth of that person. And you're only uncovering the truth that was always there. You're not having to shove it in, you're not having to make it happen, you're not having to bear it on your own shoulders. You're not doing that. You're opening up your awareness to the presence of God as that person. But you have to be willing to stay there and work on your own head, because the practitioner treats the practitioner until you get it. And he says, if you're not willing to do that, then don't tell anybody that you'll treat for them. That treating for someone is not just oh, I'll hold a good thought for you. That's not what it is. It's staying inside of yourself until you really get the truth of this. And when you do that, time and space collapses into form to reveal the divine perfection of that person, and people call it a miracle. It's really quite wonderful. But the miracle didn't happen. The miracle was always there. It was covered up by some old beliefs. And it's our job to go through our own belief system. Well, why is it that I feel that this is a bigger request than the person yesterday? What is it about me that I'm holding on to this idea that this is a hard demonstration as opposed to another one that's an easy one? And what do I really believe about this? Do I really believe that sickness can come out of the blue, or that things are inherited genetically, or that money is limited, or that, you know, people are cads, or whatever? What is it that I believe inside of myself? And that's where the work is done. That's why just treating for someone is such an amazing growth process. For you to be able to see spirit in somebody else, to see God looking out from those eyes, to be able to feel that love, that divine love of someone else, to know that, then you look out at the world and you see that everywhere. But the practitioner always treats the practitioner, and you don't give up. If you're going to give up on somebody, please call them back and let them know that you're not treating them anymore. And sometimes it's not appropriate to treat someone. If someone comes up to you and asks you to treat them and you don't feel right about it, you can say no. But if you say yes, that carries a very sacred contract that you're going to stay inside of you until you see God right in the middle of that circumstance. And you don't see God looking a certain way, well, this worked out a certain way. No, 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 you just see God. You see God as peace, as power, as beauty, as joy, wisdom, love, light, life, prosperity, all of the incredible qualities that you can come up with that mean God to you or mean spirit to you. Those of you who are God folk, mean spirit. Jane.
So, what I hear you saying is that when a practitioner treats somebody, they're basically opening that person's eyes to.
No, they're opening their own eyes.
They're opening their eyes.
Yes.
So the practitioner is opening his eyes or her eyes.
Yeah, the practitioner's eyes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
To see that person clearly.
to see the person clearly, and meanwhile the person receiving that, does that practitioner pass that awareness to?
Well, remember, we're all one.
Okay.
So what I know at the point of me is also known at the point of you.
Okay.
And truth known demonstrates instantly.
I see.
So if I know about you, there's no space between you and me. I'm not taking my knowing and lobbing it over to Jane, and I'm not trying to convince Jane to know that. There often is a teaching element to a practitioner-client relationship, but I don't have to have you believe a certain way for my knowing of you to demonstrate. Now, if you haven't changed your consciousness, chances are you're going to recreate that problem.
Yeah.
But if I say Jane can't experience her wholeness because she hasn't embraced it yet, then I'm qualifying my treatment. No, Jane is already perfect, whole, and complete, period, end of story, always has been, always will be, never can change that, and it's my job to see that, and as I see through the veil of conditions to the clarity and perfection of Jane, that manifests, because that's the world we live in, is a creating, manifesting world.
So the practitioner then sees has an awareness of the client, and meanwhile the client, what happens with the client? Does the client suddenly realize, oh, I'm whole, perfect?
The client will demonstrate that in their life. It will show up. So when the client gets the new doctor report that says that's completely gone, or when the whatever it is shows up in their life, then there's often a revelation of hallelujah, look at what happened, this is fantastic, this is great. Yeah. But it's not required to demonstrate. If I had to require you to be perfectly clear before you could demonstrate, we would never go anywhere. That's why we have practitioners. Practitioners hold the clarity of consciousness. Everything is resolved in consciousness. You can hold all of the resistance that you want, and most people do when they are terrified. When they are terrified. When the doctor says you're going to be dead in 3 months, and they come here, can somebody help me? And they have a healing. Their fear cannot stop that which already is from already being there, because it already is. We're not having to make it happen. We're not having to shove it in their lives. We're simply revealing that, and that's what the practitioner does. However, it's often a really good idea for that person to learn more about this teaching, to open up, to practice, to experience other ways of seeing themselves, and that's why we have classes, and that's why there's a teaching element to this. But it's not required. Many people go down the spiritual path after they've had the miracle. They say, well, I want to learn more about this. You know, someone who's deaf and a practitioner does a treatment for them and their hearing returns just like that. And then they go, oh, I want to learn more about this. but it's a cop-out to say, I did the treatment, the fault must be in them because they couldn't accept it. No, 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 no. There was nothing to accept, the perfection already exists. It is simply on the mind of the practitioner to see that so clearly that everything opens up and the perfection emerges for everyone to see.
And does the client then see clearly?
It depends on the client,
Oh, yeah.
you know?
As long as the practitioner sees it.
As long as the practitioner sees it, then it demonstrates.
Yeah.
And can that person go down the road in life and recreate all of their problems? Of course they can. That's why we have classes, so that we help ourselves not do that. But it's really important to remember that the practitioner only treats the practitioner, that you're not using willpower. You're simply opening up to that presence that is already here. If I thought that I had to make you something, boy, I'd be exhausted. Oh, I've got to think enough that Pegatha has this, or that Carrie has that, or Brian has that, or Susan has that, because I'm making that happen. It's not that. Because then we're thinking that something is broken or wrong, and that I have to fix it. There's nothing to fix. We're not broken. There's nothing wrong. But it is incumbent upon us to see each other clearly as that presence of spirit, a being of light, a being of love. And when we see each other like that, then that manifests. That's why people who come here, their lives get better and better just by coming here or watching online. People who expose themselves to being held in that energy, that there's nothing broken, there's nothing wrong, there's nothing missing, that everything is perfect, whole, and complete right here and right now, that that's the truth of us, always has been, always will be. When we're in that environment, that comes out. And it comes out whether we're directly receiving treatment or we walk in the door on Sunday morning and somebody hugs us. Oh, I'm okay. Everything's good. Everything's going to be okay. So we bring that forth more and more and more. People who come here, their lives get better. That's why some people leave, because they don't want that. Susan.
So one of my old fears that occasionally revisits me is that if I was thinking negative, what believing is seeing and what I focus on manifests. And I know that to be positive and wonderful, but I would scare myself in thinking, so I have these negative thoughts and I will create negative conditions. But knowing that you, John, Sally, the practitioners, the belief and the consciousness of everybody around me can basically override my negativity and my...
Your negativity is not as big as you think it is. I love what you said, David Mark, about one thought doesn't mean anything. You start piling them on each other into belief systems, and then you create a story, you call it your life. So what you thought of negative thoughts, so what? Your consciousness, you've been working on yourself for decades. So your consciousness, you have so many spiritual deposits in your consciousness that if you freak out a little bit and have a negative thought, you're not going to turn your world upside down. You built that level of consciousness by giving to yourself and making those deposits. So you can take a little withdrawal of a little bit of negativity or a little bit of anger. I mean, I don't recommend it because you start paying a lot out. Turn it around as quickly as you can, but you've got enough. You've got enough to cover yourself. You've got your own back.
I do, and I remember one night before one of the fire walks, I had said to John, but I'm afraid of the pain, and he said, but you're bigger than your pain, and that rides with me everywhere I go.
You're bigger than your negativity. You're bigger than your pettiness. I wouldn't say that to everybody, because some people they haven't made any deposits. They've just been paying out all their life, so it's their job to start making deposits and to build that up. But don't freak yourself. And even if you have a negative thought, even if it's manifested already, you can turn it around with another thought. Once you realize what you're doing, then you make a choice, you turn it around, you think different thoughts, and the conditions just flip. Yeah, don't be afraid of yourself. You are all that you've got. So I want to read the conclusion, the final conclusion after the general summary of the basic teaching chapters in the textbook. In conclusion, what the world needs is spiritual conviction, followed by spiritual experience. I would rather see a student of this science prove its principle than to have him repeat all the words of wisdom that have ever been uttered. It is far easier to teach the truth than it is to practice it. Now, those particular lines have been quoted, especially among ministers, for years and years and years. It's easier to teach than practice, and what you have to do is practice. Not talk about it, do it. It's easy to talk about it. The trick is to do it. But the practice of truth is personal to each, and in the long run, no one can live our life for us. To each is given what he needs, and the gifts of heaven come alike to all. How we shall use these gifts is all that matters. To hold one's thoughts steadfastly to the constructive, to that which endures, and to the truth may not be easy in a rapidly changing world, but to the one who makes the attempt, much is guaranteed. Now he's saying you don't even have to master it. All you have to do is attempt it, and you get much guaranteed. The essence of spiritual mind healing and of all true religious philosophy is an inner realization of the presence of perfection within and around about. It is the hope of heaven, the voice of God proclaiming, I am that which thou art that which I am. That was Ernest's summing up of all of his work. So your job is to see God all around you. It's to demonstrate these principles, not to talk about them, and to get a hold of your thinking and to focus on what you want to have in your life. And even if you just attempt it, much will be not given, guaranteed. Much will be guaranteed you. So I've had a wonderful time teaching this class. I think that you have all mastered spiritual mind treatment for each other, which was my personal goal of this class, and I think you've done a very good job. So as we close it up, take out what you're going to give. What I know is that spirit is source. It is infinite substance. It is unconditioned supply. It is that plastic that fills all of the interspaces of the universe, ready to come into form as whatever we focus upon. And so I know that being created out of that infinite substance, each of us has infinite abundance, infinite prosperity, infinite blessings in our lives, not because we put them there, but because they are the nature of life itself. And so we open up our God eyes to see that every desire is filled, everything we choose we have, and that the blessings continue forever. And so we say, yes, we're grateful for those, and we accept them all to live the best life ever. And in that state of gratitude, I simply release this treatment to all that God is, because I know that God is all. As together we say, and so it is. I know everything in these baskets is blessed, because every time we give anything, that which we are goes with our gift. It doesn't matter if it's large amounts of money, a smile, a hug, or a thought. That which we are, God as us, Spirit as us, the divine as us, shoots out into the world every time we give. Personally, I see it as golden light pouring forth from each of us, filling up this room from the floor to the ceiling and all between the walls. This air is rich and blessed with God as us. And as Spirit moves in our lives, things happen. So right here and right now, each of us is touched. We are blessed and we are healed. And I know that that energy cannot stay locked up in a room, so it goes out all around this world to touch, to bless, and to heal every being on this planet. And then I see it shoot out into the heavens to continue to touch and bless and heal. I know that that energy is always here and always now, so every one of us here tonight is blessed. Everyone who has ever been here, and everyone yet to come. And so it is. I love you guys. Have a wonderful couple of weeks. I'll be back for the first Sunday in May, and that's it.
You going out of town?